Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jennifer, and on today's video, we are doing Shadows and Shows with a twist. The movie or the show that we are going to discuss today is on Paramount Plus, and it is the Mayor of Kingstown. Now, and I'm going to be using makeup that I changed my mind about. Because the first episode of this, the previews looked wonderful. And so I was like, I really want to watch that. And I think I did watch the first episode. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to like this. So I didn't watch it anymore. And then my husband, I'm going in first with the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrops. And this is about empty. But when I first got this, it took me a long time to try it because I didn't get the glow that I kept seeing online that everybody else had. I didn't get that. And so I just didn't give it much of a chance. And then I picked it up again, and I really liked the way it made my face feel hydrated. So whether or not I have the glow or not, I like the way that the niacinamide feels on my skin. So that was definitely something that I changed my mind on. I'm going to put that there. And that's all the primer that I'm really going to go in with. And this, we'll use this for foundation. And I'm going to mix with a little bit of this Dior. When I first got this, I really did not see the hype, why it was so, everybody raved about it. But like anything, I've learned to enjoy it. So let's talk about Mayor of Kingstown. It stars Jeremy Renner, which some of you may know from the Marvel universe. He played, I think, Hawkeye. He did the bow and arrow. I think he was the superhero with no real superpowers. He was just really good at archery. He's been in Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. He was in one of the Bourne Identity movies. I don't quite remember which one it was, but I know he was in one of them. And it also stars Dianne Wiest, who she is, there she is. She's in a lot of movies as well. And Hugh Dillon, which this is what Mr. Dillon looks like. Now, Mr. Dillon, Hugh Dillon, and Taylor Sheridan wrote this series. They created it. And if Taylor Sheridan sounds familiar, it's because he created tons and tons and tons of movies and shows. He did a movie called Wind River, and Jeremy Renner was in that as well as Elizabeth Olsen, who also played in the Marvel universe. Or I don't remember what her character is. Not Black Widow. I don't know. I really don't keep up with that. I know who Iron Man, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Captain America. Those are the ones that I know. This, I didn't mix enough of the light in with that Dior. That Dior is way too dark for me, but that'll be okay. But, so when I first, let me just read the plot synopsis first. It says, the McCluskey family, which consists of Jeremy Renner, a younger brother who is a cop, and then an older brother who is, on the first episode, the mayor, Kyle Chandler. And you may recognize that name from Friday Night Lights. He was in Friday Night Lights. He was in Bloodline. He was in a lot of really good movies too. So, at any rate, and Dianne Wiest, everybody say her name, she's the mom of them. So, that's where you get the McCluskey family. They're power brokers tackling themes of systematic racism, corruption, and inequality in Kingstown, Michigan, where the business of incarceration is the only thriving industry. Now, I'll give you my first impressions. My first impressions was, this was I'm going in with this Florence by Mills concealer. This is super, super light coverage. I really wasn't a big fan of this, but the more that I've used it, the more it works for different purposes. No, it's not full coverage, but on days that I just want something very light, skin light, I will go in with this. Sometimes I'll just use this. However, since I went in with that Dior and mixed in with that L'Oreal serum, it's pretty light coverage. So, going in with this, I'm going to let it sit there for a few minutes. But, and I'm going to get this out of the way before I spill it somewhere. You go right there. But, you got a bunch of prisons in this town, this Kingstown, Michigan, which there is no Kingstown, Michigan. It's actually Kingstown, Ontario, Canada. That's where this is filmed, and that's where this Hugh Dillon, who plays a cop in it, he has a very pivotal role as well. But that's where he's from. He created this series, written it. He and Taylor from Yellowstone, 1883, 1923. Taylor wrote Wind River. Taylor wrote Hell or High Water. He wrote, and he was in Sons of, he was an actor in Sons of Anarchy. He played the cop. I am going in for my powder. I am going to go in with this e.l.f. Halo Glow, because even though you guys have seen me use it quite a bit lately, I didn't initially care for it. I didn't think it did anything extraordinary. Now I do. I'm going to use this under my eyes. I'm just using a puff. I was not intrigued with this show because I thought, okay, basically, in a nutshell, you have this family who I thought it was just very unrealistic. They're called to all the crime scenes that go on. They know everything that goes on in this town, and they wear their business suits, and it's just like, so you're the go-between in the prisons. It made absolutely no sense to me, and I was like, this is not going to be anything that I like. However, I kind of did. My husband said, well, yeah, it looks good. The boys at work said it was good, so let's watch it. So I said, okay, we'll watch it. There's a spoiler. So, skip ahead. The main mayor is Kyle Chandler, and he gets robbed or shot. Robbed and shot. And of course there's the retaliation. I think he gets shot in the first or second episode. Anyway, he gets shot. And so then you've got career criminal Mike, who is Jeremy Renner, and he is suddenly now the new mayor. And the best description that I could gather is that he is a go-between all of there's the gangs. There are 4 major gangs. I'm going in actually now with the Chanel bronzer that I did not particularly care for, but now I do enjoy using it. So now when things need to be funneled in and out of prison, Mike is who they go to. He pretty much runs the prison. You know, the guards and everything. And it was just such an unrealistic, in my opinion, show. Like, this shit would never happen. I mean, this is really, really stupid, this concept. But the further along, you know, because my husband said, well, let's watch it. And I gave it a chance. I said, okay, we'll watch it. Going in with this Ciate Dewy Blush. Another one that when I first got, I was like, oh, this is way too red. This is going to look hideous on me. But it didn't. But, so, anyway, kind of the tagline pretty much is what goes on outside of the prison is controlled by what's in the prison. Each prison, and there's several apparently in this little community in Michigan, several prisons, and the McCluskeys, I guess their father did it before them. It's kind of briefly mentioned. The mom, Dianne Wiest, she is almost like a teacher. You see her in the women's prison. You don't see much of the women, but there's a women's prison, and she teaches there. You know, and everyone knows her. Everybody knows the McCluskeys. The McCluskeys are untouchable. Kind of how I have understood it. That, you know, that you don't touch them. And they walk around in like the business suits. And at the end of season 1, there was a prison riot. And we saw we saw the youngest McCluskey, who is a cop. Remember, he's a cop. He and Hugh Dillon, who plays Ian, is the, they're in the prison when the riots break out. So there's no way for them to get out. And if I'm not mistaken, the brother is claustrophobic, and they're below the prison at this point. And I mean, it's just mayhem. Obviously, there's no signal. He finally gets signal. They finally get in touch with Mike to broker some sort of, let's go in here and see what we can do to end this. And so that's what Mike does. And they are able to get, you see the mom rushing up there, and she's like, that's my boys. Those are my boys. I'm going to go over this dewy blush with this Complex Culture little blush palette. And when I first saw this, it wasn't that I had a bad impression of it. I just thought, okay, well, this looks like NARS Orgasm, and this just looks like some of the other pinks that I have. But it's a very nice blush. It's very sheer. So I'm going to go in with the lightest. Just to kind of set that cream down a little bit. But we see Mom come out, as this season is ending, both of her boys are walking out, and because Mike brokered a deal or whatever, and then SWAT came in and were able to get control of the prison. Now, and so I was like, well, this really was interesting. I think I really am going to like this. And it really did. It was a edge of your seat. And so then we see the second season, and there's only been, I think, 4 or 5 episodes now of the second season. And we've got the inmates are now outside in tents, not separated. They call it Tent City. I'm just going to powder my face a little bit down here and here. They are calling it Tent City because they've set up all of these tents, and I mean, they're outside 24/7 in the heat. You see them in the heat, and some of the guards you see at the beginning, some of the guards in therapy, and it's implied what some of the prisoners did to some of the guards, and the warden especially. The warden is played by Michael Beach, and he was also in Sons of Anarchy. I can't remember what the name of his motorcycle gang was in, but he was in that. And so, and he plays a really good part. I mean, there's some heavy hitters in this show. There really are. And I just checked this morning before. I wasn't going to film today, but because I wanted to catch up on some of my shows. And that's usually what I do on Mondays, is I'll do my Mask Mondays, and then I'll catch up on what came on Sundays. And obviously I watched the Super Bowl. And so anyway, it didn't come on it doesn't come on again until the 12th. So for highlighter, I'm going to use this Aesthetica. This is fairly new. This is in the shade Cosmos. But it looks like that. And when I first opened it, I was like, no. This is very orange. But it's very pretty. So, I'll swatch it. Well, I'm going to swatch it over all that blush. So, but it's really pretty. But, so we know that there was a lot of bad things that happened during the riot, that we saw a lot of bad things on screen. But once the season comes back, we find out a lot happened off of screen to the guards, and the warden, and, you know, all of that. And we find out that one of the most notorious criminals escaped. His name is Milo, and he was in Game of Thrones. What was his name? Let me look his name up. Let's see. Aidan Gillen. And that's him. He plays Milo, whatever you want to call it. But the parent's guide is sex and nudity severe, violence and gore severe, profanity severe, alcohol, drugs, and smoking moderate, frightening and intense scenes severe. I would probably intense, yeah, there are some intense severe. The alcohol, drugs, and smoking, it's got moderate, but it's based on the drug trade. So, you know, I don't know that I would really call that moderate. I think I would call that severe as well. The sex and nudity, maybe in the second season, but anyway. So, this palette, Violet Voss, I love you forever. I love you forever. When I first got this palette, I was like, it's green. Yeah. Came in a BoxyCharm box. I think I actually had put it for sale in my Poshmark closet. I think I opened it, saw it, and I was like, yeah, this doesn't appeal to me. And I tried it one time, and I fell in love with it. Absolutely love this palette. I've used it several times on my channel, and now I am going to use it again. And I'm going to prime my eyeballs with, let's prime them with the last of my Urban Decay, because I think I'm on the last little bit of this. Alrighty, I have primed my eyes with a used, like I said, the Urban Decay Eden eyeshadow primer potion, and I've used this in a lot of videos. But I really did, when I first got it, I didn't like it. I was, you know, this is too, it's too pigmented. I don't think I'm gonna like it. But I did. I changed my mind. It happens. And so now I'm going to use the Violet Voss palette. So I'm going to go in with, I'm going to start out with this shade Wink, which is this one. And I'm going to put that on the eyeball. My hair is blowing. I'm just going to kind of sweep that all over. It's a very, very light lavender almost. Just kind of putting that all over the eye. Getting some color up there. I'm going to take it all the way up there. Then I'm going to go in with this shade above it, which is Wishful, or Wistful. Wishful. That shade. It's a really pretty shade. And I'm going to start building my crease with that. I'm going to go in now with Infatuated, which is this color right here. A little bit deeper than that one. And I'm going to use that same brush, and I'm just going to kind of tap it. And I'm going to take that color, and I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go a little bit on the lower lashes with that color. Not too far in, but you know, I want to kind of. And I'm going to take, I think I'm going to go in with this one right beside it and tap that on the outer. Let's see if I can get it a little deep. And for the shimmer, I'm going to go in with the shade let's go in with Olive You, which is this one. I'm just going to use that same brush, get it on the tip, and these just apply so beautifully. They really do. I mean, there's just no comparison. But I did bring out another one that I changed my mind on, which is this Urban Decay Heavy Metals. Now, this one, they perform beautifully. I absolutely loathe the packaging, but the colors in here are just absolutely next level. So I'm going to go in with this shade Mullet, which is that shade. I'm going to go in with that over top of this a little bit. And I am going to wet my brush a little bit. There we go. Gritty. I would use the adjective gritty to describe this show. You know, it's one of those shows that makes no sense when you think of the concept. A bunch of prisons and somebody on the outside making barter and deals, and this is just so would never happen. But as you're watching it and you get sucked in, it's like, oh, okay, this is plausible. You know, it's not science fiction or anything like that, but you know, I guess back in the day, it would make perfect sense of how this, you know, this would go. For the outer lid, I am going to, let me see, there's two greens. Oops. Let me see how they compare to that one. I don't think I'm going to go in with a shimmer on the end. I think I'm just going to deepen it back up with that shade. Endless Desire. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. To deepen it. There we go. I'm going to do this eye and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I took the very first shade, the very first shimmer shade that I used, which was Olive You. This was the very first shade that I had put on my eye, and then I covered it up with one of the Urban Decay. Well, I wanted something in between the outer and inner, so I just took some on my finger and I just very lightly tapped it over top to kind of marry the two, if you would. Now, there is Fallout, which, you know, is expected with some shades. I mean, with some shadows. That doesn't bother me in the least bit. It wipes right off. But, and I didn't do much on the lower lash line other than take what was on the end from using that deepening shade there and just kind of run it along the edge there. There's a little green on this side. We'll put there. Darken it up even more. For the inner corner, well, I'm going to go in and use this shade Major Spotlight. And that is going to be the look. I don't really have a setting spray that I've changed my mind about. I really don't. Or a lipstick, but I will put on one of the newer ones that I got. And this is from e.l.f. It's part of their new line, the satin line. And this one, I think, was in shade Shameless. But it looks like that. It's really pretty. And let's put a lip liner on. Oh, man. I despise the applicators on these. If I've never made that clear. Love the formula. Hate having to maneuver to use them. Go back in. Now for this pretty lipstick. Let's hope it matches. No, but that's all right. We'll cover it right up. My lips are very, very cracked and dry. So let's overlook that. This is my completed look. And my synopsis or my summary for Mayor of Kingstown is, it is a 8 out of 10 because it is so far-fetched, but it is good. It is parental guidance is absolutely necessary. I would not. It glorifies crime a little bit, which, you know, I'm an adult, I know the difference, but I think it could be impressionable for a younger audience, if you would. But anyway, that's it for this episode of Shadows and Shows. and using products that I needed to give a second chance to and learn to love them like I did this show. Okay, guys, be beautiful and be kind, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys. This is the final look. This is with no mascara. We're not going to do mascara today. Bye, guys.